Okay guys, in this episode, we're going to be diving into what the 7 daily habits are that I've identified for you guys. Okay, these are the 7 that are going to be key to really just priming your body and priming your habits and getting yourself, like I mentioned before, into a spot, right, where all these things are dialed in such that we can go and go into like dedicated training phases and fat loss phases, building phases and all of that. But before we can do all that fancy stuff, we need to make sure our habits and our systems are completely dialed in. Okay, so what are the 7? Let's kick it off. Okay, the very first one is win your morning. Okay, we all start our day, everybody gets out of bed and goes straight into things, right? But the difference between people, who actually reach their goals and people that sort of like stumble through it and, maybe hit their goals on good days and maybe, miss their goals on other days when they're less motivated. The real difference is how you approach your morning, okay? And for you, it could look different from than the next person, right? But what's important here is that there is intentionality in your morning routines and in what you do in the morning. Okay, so I'm gonna be sort of giving you guys a couple of ideas, things that work for me and for some of my other clients, and then you can really just like sit and think about what works for you, right? With all of these things I'm going to be outlining for you, right, some are non-negotiables, but some are really up for you to experiment yourself and to determine what best suits you and your lifestyle and your goals at this point in time. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first one, win your morning, right? A couple of things that I like to do when I get up in the morning, right, is very simple. So I get out of bed, I will just usually take the first half an hour to make sure that I keep my phone away from me, put it in a drawer, put it somewhere out of sight. Because out of sight means that, I'm not distracted, I'm not, just like eager to go and check notifications, check emails, check all of those things which actually can wait, right? So start your morning off without any distractions. I like to do 10 minutes of like quick journaling to just like pour out my thoughts, and then another 10 minutes just to read and to make sure that I'm always keeping abreast and learning. So important for growth, right? The next thing is also always making sure that I start my morning off intentionally with a healthy breakfast, if you eat breakfast, that is. Okay, so kicking this off this way, and also even adding in like supplementation into your morning routine, it's just going to make sure that you start off the day fresh, and you start off the day already like intentionally deciding that you are going to choose to approach it from a healthy perspective that day, and that just sets the tone for the rest of the day, and it makes it easy for you to follow through when you have already dialed in the first big win in the morning, right? So win your morning is number 1. Okay, number 2. Okay, the second thing that we're gonna dive into is the 80-20 rule. Okay, so what is this rule? This is the most important rule when it comes to nutrition when you are starting out. Okay, this rule means 80% of the amount of foods that you eat should come from as whole foods as possible. When I say as whole as possible, it means as close to the source as virtually possible, right? So this means filling your diet with lean sources of protein, with whole grains, and also with like fruits and vegetables. Okay, this is really going to set you up for success, because a lot of the foods that we eat, if we are not intentional about it, tend to come from other foods which are more like hyper palatable, super processed foods, which aren't great for really maintaining your satiety and giving you the nutrition that you need to fuel your body for gains, right? So 80-20 is the rule. 20% means that you can still have fun foods that you enjoy. I'm not saying you can't eat anything. Everything is on the table, but like I like to say, you can eat what you want to eat, but likely not in the portions that you're used to. Okay, so this is how I'm going to differentiate it for you. 80% whole nutritious foods and 20% fun treat foods. Okay, number 3. The third thing on this list and the third habit I want you guys to dial in daily is that I want you to prioritize protein. Protein is one of the macronutrients that gets so easily overlooked in our diet, right? That there's so many benefits to consuming protein, and I mean I can list a couple, right? Basically, Eating enough protein ensures that you're going to maintain and even gain lean muscle mass, which is key for weight management and body composition changes. Okay. Second thing, protein. Just make sure that you are as full as possible because it's super satiating. Okay. The third thing is that you even burn more per consumption of protein compared to other macronutrients, so it is also up there in terms of like benefits for you. Okay, so just make sure as far as you can, right, to just try to get protein in each meal. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, if you have to, a couple of like things or tips here include just increasing the portion sizes of the protein that you already are eating. So say you're having like a chicken breast and it's usually like this size, I would increase it to basically like maybe just make it a little bit bigger, right? Like make it this size. Okay, that other ways to think about it include hand portioning. So in terms of your palm size, try to get at least one palm size per meal. Okay, so that will lead you to about 3 to 4 palm size per day. That's a great place to start. On to the fourth thing, right? It is sleep 6 to 8 hours a day. Okay, so I want to stress here that different people obviously have different lifestyles, different responsibilities. If you're a parent, then obviously this might be a little bit more challenging for you, right? But really, sleep is one of the most underrated fat loss tools. Okay, so don't select on your sleep routine and on getting enough sleep. If you can, 6 to 8 is a great place to start. Okay, and also remember that you're trying to go after quality as well. Sometimes, I mean, if you can't get quality off the bat, focusing on quantity is great, right? But after you hit quantity, you want to make sure that you are dialing in your sleep quality as well. Alright, the next thing on that list is daily movement. Okay, so for you, what that could look like is training, depending on how many times you are training that particular week. Okay, so depending on what you're starting out with, you could be starting out with 3 times a week of training, hitting those 3 times a week of training consistently, religiously, without any fault or failure, hitting it, right, and making sure that you are consistent, you are setting up the systems and the routine to make sure that you get to the gym or you get to that space in your house where you are working out. Just get those sessions done. Okay, but you will remember this habit says daily routine and you only are working out 3 times a week, say. So what do I want you to do for the rest of the days, right? You have a daily step goal, right? Because I want to make sure you're getting movement in every single day, right? So you either are walking or training every single day. Okay, so this is the habit I want you guys to get into. You're really just prioritizing your body, prioritizing movement in your daily routine. On to the next one. It is 2 to 3 liters of water a day. I know most of you guys probably don't drink enough water, so this is there, right? This is just to make sure that you are getting enough in your diet, right? So very simple one, not much to explain. This is obviously going to increase as you start to exercise more, as you are perspiring more. You will need to replenish more to make sure you're not getting dehydrated. But 2 to 3 is where you're looking at. And the last one, the 7th habit that you have is to plan for the next day, or just to just use the last bit of your day when you are unwinding, when you are going back to bed, right, to express gratitude for like the day. It could look in different ways for for different people. Either keep a gratitude journal, you either could use the time to pray or worship or whatever it is that that works for you. But really it is to get out all the thoughts from your head, things that are usually on your mind, so that you can have sound and just like restful sleep. And also for you, as you are starting on this new journey, I mean, the start is usually the most challenging, I guess like the most challenging part of the journey, right? Because you're changing so many different things. So if you can use that time to also celebrate your wins, celebrate what's worked for you, as small as it can be. Just write down all the things that have worked for you, things that you're happy about, things that you want to celebrate and you want to just be proud of yourself for accomplishing. Start writing those things down. as you progress, looking back on these things, especially on days where it's hard, looking back on these things and seeing how far you've come and the progress that you have achieved thus far is really gonna just motivate you and incentivize you to keep pushing forward on those hard days. Okay guys, so that's a wrap for the 7 daily habits. I believe that, you know, if you institute and start to practice these 7 daily habits, it's really going to make such a massive difference in your life. It seems small, but really these are like the big rocks that really make a difference, okay? So yes, let's get into the next video.